Hey there, good morning. This is Brenda Meller with Meller Marketing. I am so excited to be out today talking to the one and only Terry Bean. Terry, good morning. How are you doing today?
Couldn't be any better, Brenda. I'm so excited to be joining you for this. This is so fun. LinkedIn Live. I'm still a little jelly. Right.
Well, this is going to be an absolute blast. And Terry, I haven't seen you in person in a while. So how have things been going for you? I know you're doing a lot of work with Motor City Connect and your own business. So how are things going?
Things are kicking, right? We're out there. We're doing some cool things with Motor City Connect. We just kind of rebranded and relaunched Club MCC, which is the premium level inside of it. And
That's right. Yeah.
had like a board meeting yesterday with 7 leaders, and like just honored and humbled to see the type of people that come with me for the ride, right? It's just splendid. So I actually gave them a hat tip. If you go to my LinkedIn post from this morning, you'll see who those leaders are. And, I'd love to see some folks give them a follow. They're just great, great people. So that's fun. TEDx Detroit, we're already working on 2020.
Already for next year, really? Yeah. This year. It's not even next year. It's this year now. Yeah.
So we have a really bad habit, a really bad history of saying we're going to have it locked in before the year ends, and then doing that sometime around June.
Right? Yeah, you're like, okay, it snuck up on it. Well, because it's towards the year end when the event happens, so you kind of need to catch your breath and collect your thoughts and take a little break from being all TEDx Detroit-ish and then shifting back into other gears, right?
Yeah, because you kind of have to do the work you didn't do while you were doing the TEDx work, right? And that whole it's a monolithic, right? It's just a Herculean effort to put that on with dozens of people and hundreds of volunteers, and it takes a lot of time and energy and focus and effort. And so things get neglected, and you want to get back to that part of your world. And you're like, well, I know I have to do this, and I'm gonna get sucked into it again. So,
but it's such great energy, and you guys have such a great board doing all the planning and everything. And so back to kind of the subject at hand for today. I mentioned to you a while ago that I had LinkedIn Live, and there was a handful of people that I wanted to start setting up interviews with right away. And you were one of those very first people, Terry, because for those that are joining us online today, if you know Terry Bean in Metro Detroit, I mean, how could you not know Terry Bean if you're in Metro Detroit? Because Terry Bean is Metro Detroit, right? And you were one of the first people that back in the day, and this was probably 2008-ish, 9-ish, early, you were making the circuit talking about this great new world of social media. And I attended one of your events, and I was just mesmerized, and I really loved to learn from you. And you've always been one of my mentors, idols. And, it's an honor to still be connected with you and to watch the work that you're doing today. So my series here, I'm calling this Social Media P.I.E. And P.I.E, I'm kind of rolling this into an acronym because it's inspiring people, informing the audience that's watching, and educating those people that are coming online as well. And today's topic that we'll be talking about with Terry, I'm going to put it up on screen here, is building your own networking group. So, Terry, let's talk a little bit about, maybe you want to go into a little bit of the history of the Motor City Connect, or if you want to take us in an entirely different direction, let's get talking here.
Yeah, for sure. So let's start though with why anybody would want to build their own networking group, right? Begin with why. It's kind of a good idea, or start with why.
Right. Start at the end. Yeah.
So if you build your own networking group, you're the hub, you're the center of the network, which means that all the people around you know you, right? So you get to be at the forefront of it. I'm a big fan that, leaders kind of lead from behind. Right? I don't ever want to tell anybody what to do. I want to do the things and have them follow should they choose, right? I don't want to tell you what you need to do, but that's kind of how leadership is. And in a networking environment, I think it's really, really important to be mindful of who those people are that you're bringing into that group. And the best way to do that is to hand select the initial folks.
Okay.
So instead of just running out and joining an existing one, which is relatively easy to do,
right?
But you're probably not going to have the same relationship. You're not going to have the same interest, right? So it's relationship building, which to me is what networking is all about. Starts with having that common ground.
Mhm.
So we'll talk about who the people are that should be in there. We'll talk about how to approach those folks. We'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit about what that structure should look like. And then we'll just kind of go through that whole thing. Right?
Awesome. Could I interrupt you, Terry? One thing
Yeah,
I'd like
please.
to do is I'm using StreamYard to do the live stream here today, and there's going to be folks watching us live. They may have some questions for you, and there might be also folks that are watching this in playback later on. And I'd like to encourage any of you who are joining us online this morning to drop your comments below. And if you're online listening and watching this morning, do leave us a comment as well and just say good morning or good afternoon or good evening. Let us know where in the world you're joining us from. And if you could let us know if you have any questions, I'll periodically look down at my phone and see if there's anything that we can ask Terry. And I'm going to welcome and see who's joining us right now. We've got about 31 people joining us so far, Terry. So I'll say good morning here to Shauna. Good morning to Mo. Robert, I heard you on Facebook Live yesterday with Courtney. Hope you're doing well yesterday. Good morning to Lisa. We've got Diane, Malik, Mohammed, Sweta, and Keith Stonehouse. I think you and I both know Keith, Terry.
I have met Keith Stonehouse once or twice. He's on his anniversary tour right now up in Traverse City. Have fun, buddy.
Oh, how lovely. Well, happy anniversary, Keith. So we'll keep the phone next to us here, but I'll turn the floor back over to Terry again.
Very cool. Very cool. So building your own network, right? We know why we want to do it. Here's where you start, right? You have to look at what your business is and who you're trying to attract as an ideal client. Right. So if you're in the technology space, you're going to want to find people that are upstream or downstream in the technology space. Basically, the people that are calling on the same end user. Right? So if you're selling computer networks, for instance, I don't even know if people still sell those things, but and they do. You might want to find somebody who sells connections, right? So internet access. You might need to find someone that sells security. You might need to find somebody that sells telephone systems. You might need to find somebody that sells some form of software. So boom, now you have a little bit of a technology-based network. You know, Keith Stonehouse is a master at building his own network, right? I haven't seen anybody do it better. Keith's in the title business. He created Michigan Real Estate Masterminds, and it's filled with mortgage professionals, real estate professionals, and other people that service folks buying a new home or, you know, leasing a new home or whatever. So he's got his target audience inside of his group, and he gets to see these folks repeatedly and communicate with them. So nice job, Keith Stonehouse. Very intense.
I'm going to throw that link up on screen here, and I'll drop it in the comments later on too for folks that are watching.
Yeah, if you're in Michigan, in or near the real estate business, go check out Michigan Real Estate Masterminds LLC.com. Wow, Stonehouse, you owe me.
This was not staged, ladies and gentlemen. This is impromptu. I mean, Terry and I, we've gone back for a while, so we kind of work well. We could do a talk show together, you and I, don't you think, Terry?
We could. You've got such great energy, and it just fills the room, and I love that. Absolutely love it. And you and I are both promoters of people doing good things, right? Yeah. So like, even if I didn't want to give Keith a shout out, I have to, right? Like, even if I didn't like him.
How could you not like Keith? He's just a likable guy. And I the event I met him at, it was at the Motor City Connect. It was at the Royal Oak. I can't remember the name of that place we met at.
BD, Mongolian, probably.
Mongolian, yes. And he was talking about, you know, and this is a really good reminder for folks, you know, whether you're creating a networking group or just, you know, promoting and networking yourself. And he said, it's not other people's jobs to remember what you do. It's your job to remind them. And, you know, I have people all the time that are like, you know, I feel like I talk about what I do all the time. And I still have people saying, hey, do you do LinkedIn training? And I'm like, that's what I do. That is literally what I do. And so he like encouraged us at that event. He said, when you leave here today, do a video of yourself, you know, 30 seconds a minute, and just tell people who you are, what you do, and push it out to your social networks. And I did, and I got some clients from that. So it was a really great, you know, incorporation of both the concept of networking, what you learn at networking groups, and promoting yourself.
I remember that video, and I remember that tip. So yeah, it was very effective in many different ways. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, all right. So we know who we're kind of going after, right? And then you really, to take it the second layer, two thoughts. One thought is empower the people in the group to invite people that are like them, right? Because here's what I've learned over the years of doing this. anytime I've ever met a good friend of a good friend,
Yeah.
it was like meeting somebody I've known for years,
Yeah.
right? It's like attracts like, and that's consistent and pervasive throughout the universe. So empower them, give them some level of ownership, maybe give them some level of incentive, explain why it's of value. And then the other side of that second layer, right? So consider it the concentric ring. You start with the 5 or 10 people that you know need to be there that are going to help your business. And then that second layer is they invite people. And then there are professions that you kind of need to have in a networking group. In no particular order, it's always important to have an attorney. Attorneys understand their clients better than most anybody, with the possible exception of a CPA, right? So you want those two folks because they've got details, they've got info, they're trusted advisors and counselors to their clients. They're a good opportunity to find referrals. Commercial realtors are huge because they know people that are moving and doing things. And this is obviously more important for a B2B side. A residential realtor, certainly important for a B2C side, much like a mortgage person is. Then there's insurance, whether we're talking about property or casualty or life or health. Those end up being 3 different topics. But what's important, regardless of what people you're going after, they have to be individuals that are A, fairly active in their business, B, fairly active in their community, and C, have the right mindset that understand the importance of giving.
That's a really great tip too. And because you can invite people who come and just they're there, but they aren't actively participating. And I think that's one of the key to the success of the group is, because you can hold a meeting, right? You can get 30 to 60 to 100 people there the first time, but if they see no value and there's no participation, they don't see that reciprocal effect happening, they're done and the group's not going to grow and it's going to quickly whittle out.
It's it. And it really is about the people, right? It's always about the people. The idea of networking and the concept is easy. The ability to have people that are executing on it is difficult. And sometimes we get people that are I'm trying to couch how I phrase this. Are
you trying to be politically correct right now, Terry?
Trying to be nice is what I'm trying to do.
I'm like, what is Terry trying to do right now? He's trying to be nice.
Yeah, I'm normally so damn blunt that it's throwing me off too, right? Like I don't even understand how to say the words that are coming out of my mouth.
Right.
Well, so screw it. They're so desperate for business that they're running around with their cards out, with their hand out.
Yes.
What can you do for me? And that's because they don't have enough opportunities. They're not with enough prospects or enough customers, right? Their funnel isn't big enough. They're not meeting with enough people, right? So you have to have people that are busy feeding themselves, right? So they can actually feed you too.
Right.
Otherwise, it's like handout central, and those networking meetings suck.
Yes, they do. You may go to them once, right? And that's it. You're like, okay, won't go to that group again.
Done. Yeah, can't do it. And you can almost pick up the vibe on that when you walk in the door, at least within the first few minutes. So
right.
So from a structure standpoint, those are the people, right? At a high level. I actually, there's an article, and I'll find the link and I'll send it to you so you can put it in the comments, or I'll put it in the comments.
Yeah, you can drop it in I'll actually give you the playback, actually the LinkedIn thread, so you can just drop it right in the comment.
Yeah, so I wrote a post a while back on the 20 people you need to have in your network. Right? So I think I shared 7 or 8 of them, and that's a good starting point. The next thing is you kind of got to figure out the frequency and type of meetings, right? So lots of people go to groups that meet at 7 o'clock in the morning. You know who doesn't go to meetings that start at 7 o'clock in the morning?
Right.
This guy. Like ever not doing that. So, Motor City Connect's always been a lunch meeting. Why? Because I wasn't trying to be somewhere at 7 o'clock. I have a hard time being somewhere at noon. So let's, not because I'm not up and effervescent. I'm just not trying to do that. Right.
Yeah.
So you got to fix the timing. Lots of people do this over happy hour, right? Network after work. I just got a call from the owner of that yesterday. It was really intriguing and interesting idea. But they've been doing this in 87 different cities around the country. And so people get together and do the whole happy hour thing. That can work, right? But
Mhm.
it's important to figure out what that timeline is and what that frequency is. You
Right.
also have to figure out, is it open or closed? How
Mm.
many people do you want? Is it just going to be a single group for you and your business?
Mhm.
Then you probably only need 10 to 15 of the right people inside of it. And you can do it monthly. It doesn't have to be overthought. And I
Right.
think that's what happens. Too many people are like, I don't know where to start. I don't know
Yeah.
where to start. You don't have to know where to start. Just
Just
start,
start, right? Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You
And what
need,
I love too is like you've kind of, you and I are, we both come from a former corporate life and now we're both on our own and we're making the rules as we go. And for some people that can be a little bit jarring. Well, what are the rules that I should follow? Like what is a networking group? And do I have to do this? Do I have to do that? Well, you can do anything you want, right? It's your group. And especially if you're not affiliated with a national organization, if you are affiliated with a national organization, there's a lot of benefits to that in terms of promotion and marketing and visibility. But when it's on your own, what I love you're saying is you can kind of craft what you want that to be and, kind of selfishly for yourself, but also keeping in mind the participants in your meeting. So yeah, you can make it as open as you want or as closed as you want. An invitation only, that creates a little bit of that, oh, I want to be part of that group, right?
exclusivity is huge, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That people, if you put the red velvet rope in front of something, people are like, I want to go in there.
Yeah. You should have that at a Motor City Connect. You'll have like a bouncer at the door and then like checking the list to see if their name's on there and, crossing them off.
That would require a list, Brenda. Although I have people now, right? I have people
Right.
that are excited to be joining me on this mission. And that
Yeah.
was the big part of yesterday, was to like offload some of all the stuff, right? Because
Yeah.
like until you actually sit down and think about all the things you do, you don't realize all the things you do.
Right.
It's like, oh, well, no wonder this seems a bit overwhelming and taxing and I don't get to some of it. There's too much. So
Well, you're doing it all and you don't think about it and you're not even thinking about the processes that you go through because you just do it. And it's something that you as a person, you're just such a big proponent of network. In my mind, when I think of Terry Bean, I think of networking. Like that's the word I think of. And, everybody's have established different words for their professional brand and personal brand. And some people you don't, like, I don't know really what he is good at or what she is good at. But for me, it's networking. Like that's the word that I know for you.
I appreciate that. It's funny. I avoided that term like the plague for years, right? And
Really?
yeah. In 2020, I'm embracing it. Well, because it's dumb. It's dumb because it doesn't really describe what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it's even dumber because it conflates itself with information technology networking.
I don't think about that at all. I think you have like a catchphrase too, isn't it? Be connected.
Be connected.
And I see it
I have
as
a book title called Be Connected.
That's right. You do have a book. Yeah. And I think, networking you're a connector of people. And, I think we both referred business back and forth to each other and we've referred connections back and forth to each other. And, you're a big proponent too of that whole law of reciprocity. Am I saying it right?
Law of reciprocity, law of generosity. Both are really, really important, and why networking actually works, right? Otherwise, without those two, it wouldn't.
Right.
So do we have to define that? Because I don't know that people understand that.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I think, it's the whole abundance mentality. There's more than enough work for all of us to go around if we're not stingy with the connections we have, the knowledge that we have, and even the events we attend. I could say, well, I'm not going to invite that person because she or he does something similar to me. Well, no, I'll bring them because she might serve that side of town and I serve a different side of town or different angles of the same type of work. So
that, if people take anything from this conversation at all, that is the most important point. Your competitors, right? The people that do what you do can be and should be your biggest source of opportunity because they're calling on the same people. Maybe they're booked, maybe they're busy, maybe they don't like them, they don't resonate with them, maybe they're too far away. There's
Yeah.
your word right there, girl. Love it.
Well, you heard that, or that's in a book or something, right? I was like going all around town going, Terry Bean, coopetition, he created this word, and somebody's like, there's a book, Brenda, it's not Terry Bean.
I don't, so I created a lot of words that I found out later were already words. So
Right.
I remember, I think it was John Asperian that pointed it out, that there was a book.
Oh, yeah.
It was, I think it was John that said it in your post. I always used to say comparation, because that was competition and cooperation. It's the exact same thing. So, but somebody, and I've used them interchangeably, and obviously coopetition makes more sense, evidently.
Yeah.
But it's whatever the case is. I mean, we were talking before we came online. Brenda gave me a referral to go speak on a cruise, people. And you know what I'm speaking on? Teaching people how to use LinkedIn. You know what Brenda does all the time?
Right.
Teach people how to use LinkedIn.
Right.
So we were talking a little bit before that. No, you said it on the show. You were in a social media class that I did back in 08 or 09.
Right.
And I started teaching LinkedIn in 05. Right. So I've been on here. So I was number 1,500,131,000.
How do you know that?
There was a post a year or so ago that I shared. I'd love to dig it out, but I share too much.
Wow.
That the guy can tell you there's a way to find out what number is. I'm going to Google it, and if I find it, I will get you that link in the comments too, because it's fun. It's fun to know, right?
It's like a trivia. I mean, you can look up and see when you joined LinkedIn, but to know like what member you are, that's kind of a really cool thing.
Yes, the dates in your profile, right? You can see when you date. November 24th, 2004, in case anyone was asking.
Is that what yours was? Okay. Cool. So let's take a moment here and see who we've got online and see if any other questions are coming in, if that's okay, Terry.
Please do. Please.
All right. So let's see here. Andy, how you doing, Andy from Chicago? Andy Foots joined us. Keith, says he's from Traverse City. We've got Danil coming from Spokane, Washington. John Asperian. Hey, we gave you a shout out, John. Hope you were online when we talked about you there.
And I just pronounced your name right, and I'm happy about that. I've only ever read it, right? You never know how to say something if you've only
right. Let's see. We've got James Lewis. I think he's a part of your group too.
Hey, James, he is.
John Bulahanis. Let's see here. Andy Foot. You usually get into side conversation that's on my thread. I'm waiting for that to happen right now. Eric.
Clever dude, Andy Foot.
Amazing Meller. What's that? Okay. Keith says the check is in the mail for you, Terry, and thanks for the shout out for him this morning. Let's see who we got. Yeah, here goes Andy. He's always doing side conversations in my threads. He was talking to Sweta from Toronto right now. Let's see, Gabrielle. Andy, we like attorneys. Attorneys are good people. He's questioning the attorneys as a part of the group there.
You got to find the right ones, right? There are shyster attorneys, and there are very good attorneys.
That's very true. Very true.
There's shyster everything. So let's be honest.
Let's see here. Diane Hunter, good morning. John Gray, good morning. Dave Linneberry, bonus points for effervescence here, he says. Mission 2020 focus. We've got 70 people online right now too, by the way, Terry. We're increasing here as we go along here.
Super fun.
Coopetition from Dave Linneberry, who came online. And Dave also posted in the comments the link how to figure out what number I am on LinkedIn. What I'm going to do right now, Dave, if you're still listening online, I'm going to do this if you don't mind. So I figured out there's a way in StreamYard. I'm going to put my Facebook link up on screen right now. So Dave, if you're watching, if you go on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Meller Marketing, this is live streaming there as well. And you can drop the comment and then I can put your comment up on screen with that link if you wouldn't mind. And I'll keep talking here as we're going along here.
That would be cool. That's a valuable piece of information. Mostly for fun, but
I think it's interesting. It's like one of those little tidbits, who really cares? It's just fun to know, right? Jonathan says Terry Bean is a networking Jedi master. There you have it.
I will be forwarding Keith's check to Jonathan.
Right.
And Jonathan's one of those great attorneys that I was just talking about. I'm assuming it's Jonathan Schwartz.
Let's see, where is this? Jonathan H. Schwartz. Does that sound like him?
It does sound like it.
Okay. We've got Tina joining us from the UK. So we have several people from overseas this morning.
Wow.
Top
of the afternoon to you.
Yeah. We've got Shitra. Hey, Janet E. Johnson. I think you know who Janet is, don't you?
I feel like she was on a podcast with the two of us when you joined us as a guest a few
That
months
was, yeah. That was probably what, a year and a half or so ago.
Good Lord. Yeah, it probably was. It seems like a few months, though. It was probably 16.
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah.
16 is a few.
Yeah, it
All right,
is.
a few
It's not that long ago. We've got John Luke. We have Becky Peters. We have Q-Sun. We have Joe Pullen. Andy says he's a recovering attorney. I don't believe anything Andy says, though. And then Laurel Sharp is a first timer. Bernd says, hi, Brenda from Germany. I'm going to say Guten Tag to Bernd. I took a few years of German back in high school, and that's about as far as I know a poem. Isn't it funny how you remember certain things, like, but you don't remember others? I remember a whole poem in German. I don't know why, but it just stuck in my head.
I don't think it's fair to say I remember a whole poem in German and then not say the poem. I really there are 70 people who are like, where is this German poem right now?
Right. Let's see how far I can go. It's seltsam in Nebel zu wandern, einsam ist jeder Buschenstein, kein Baum sieht den andern, jeder ist allein. That's as far as I know.
That sounds like a whole first stanza of it, though.
Isn't it? Yeah. So
any clue what you just said? Because I have zero.
Yes, because I remember it was one of these assignments when you learn in high school where you have to like memorize the pronunciation and the meaning of each of the lines. So it's strange to wander in the fog. I don't remember all. Every tree is alone. You can't see the other. It was one of these rough translation things, but maybe it was a meaningful, poignant thing, and that's why it resonated with me. Or maybe it was inundated so many days in a row we had to memorize this thing, and we had some fun there. So every now and again I remember a couple words of German. So
that's awesome.
So we're kind of getting to the half hour point here, guys, and I'd like to keep these to around 30 minutes. So I'd like to see if Terry, is there anything else you'd like to cover? If not, I'm going to ask our audience, is there any final questions you have for Terry before we wrap on the session here today? So Terry, we did get through a couple of really good points here today, and I was kind of putting them up on screen. I'm going to review those again here. So you kind of step one was identifying your target audience, knowing who you want to be a part of your group. You had your step two, empowering your connections, your influencers, and including certain people amongst that group. And then you talked about your third tip was determining frequency and time of meetings. Anything else kind of on that vein of creating a networking group?
I like the idea of having something where they can meet online too, right? The reason Motor City Connect took off the way it did in 2006 was because we paired online networking with real world networking. And we were one of the first hybrid networking groups on the planet that did that. Right? Mm-hmm. That wasn't an idea that existed much before it, because online networking wasn't really that much of a thing outside of like bulletin boards really back in the day. So having that online component where people can meet and communicate, because ultimately, if you're only networking inside of the networking meeting, you're doing it wrong, right? It's mm-hmm. what happens the rest of the hours of the week or month that really allow the network to flourish and grow. Shamelessly and self-promotingly, I just launched a How to Be a Better Networker program, where it's going to have some coaching, it's going to have some online training, and then it's going to have some individual strategy sessions one-on-one with me. So I'm going to get really dialed into your business to help you grow. And, it's the old, if you give a man a fish, right? For a day, right? I want to teach you how to fish for life. So I'll be sure.
Is that on your website where people could learn about that?
It is, right? It's the number one blog on there. It's called Networking Mastery Program. Try that site right there. And then if you did a / networking program or networking mastery program, right?
Okay.
That would be what it says.
Okay.
So I should actually look at it as opposed to thinking I know it from memory. But it is that, right? Networking Mastery Program. So yeah, right. It's the top post under the blog. It's easy to find.
Okay, I'm going to try to pull it up on screen as we're wrapping things up on here too. So Bernd replied, oh no, Andy said Ausgleich. I can't pronounce that word. I'm sorry.
Oh, you've exceeded her German.
Every now and again, I find something and I'm like, I can pronounce that, but I don't think I want to do it in front of a studio audience right now because I'm gonna not do well. And so let's see if this will work up on screen. I think this is your link right here.
I think it would be fun to see what languages people took in high school. So if you could drop just what language you took, right? And it'll be interesting to see how
Yeah.
many people speak more than one language in
Hmm.
like where they are in the world, because I'll assume most of them are not like neighbors to us if they're speaking more than one. Not
Right.
that there aren't multilingual people here, but it's always fascinating because I took Spanish for 3 years, and like
Yeah.
I could probably get around okay if I had to. I
Could
know
you? Yeah.
enough. I know enough, right? Or I retained enough. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'd also be called all kinds of names and have no clue. So it's
Yeah.
kind
That's so funny. I think, you do a great job when I've been to your Motor City Connect meetings, when you do the round the room introduction, you have like, people answer, like it has to be like a lightning round kind of question or something. And I remember the one meeting you said, who's the one person or connection you'd like to meet? But you sometimes you bring another person, that might be a fun one too. Like, what's the language you learned in high school, and say something in that language,
that would be kind of cool. Yeah, next time I'm short on programming, I'll make sure that we do that, right?
Yeah.
It's like ultimately we talked about that common ground and that bonding earlier and how that builds relationship.
Hmm.
Sharing that experience of being told Cayete or Sierra La Boca, Mr. or Senor Bean, right? And she never called me Senor Frijoles, which I thought she should have. Because
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
frijoles is bean in Spanish.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Sierra La Boca is close your mouth, and Cayete is shut up. So those are my big Spanish lessons.
Funny how you remember those phrases, isn't it?
Totally random, I'm sure.
It doesn't have any, I don't know. I just don't understand that at all,
Right.
So kind of closing us off here, I just went on to his Facebook to see if we had any comments come in. And I think Derek, don't you, Terry?
Heck yeah. Derek's an awesome dude out in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Awesome.
The People's Republic of Ann Arbor.
That's People's Republic. Is it A squared, or what do they call themselves?
A squared. Yeah.
I got some fun acronym. And then you can actually, this is something kind of cool too. So when you're on Facebook, you can actually go on as a business page to another business page and make a comment. So this is a group, I'm another networking group I'm involved with, Detroit Together Digital. It's part of a larger organization. So someone on the committee, it looks like, has joined on a comment there as well. So kind of a fun thing there. All right, guys. So I'm going to throw back up on screen here the URL for Mr. Terry Bean on LinkedIn. If you are not yet connected to him, you got to stop what you're doing right now and connect with this guy. Follow him. Do I have your book? I read your book. If I had planned this better, I would have had this book like right in front of me right now. Let me see if I have it. But Terry,
if I would have planned it better, maybe I would have had it.
Right? I want to see if I can grab it. But Terry, any final comments for the group while I look for your book?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a couple of things, right? You've all maybe heard the phrase "givers gain." I want you to know one thing about that. Giving someone the opportunity to help you is still giving, right? So tell people specifically what you want, what you need. Ask, right? It's not enough to just pull yourself by the bootstraps anymore. We live in a really busy world. We all have a lot to do, and that work gets easier if we enroll other people. If you ask someone for help, you're giving them the opportunity to enact those laws of reciprocity or that law of generosity, so the universe can do good things for them too. It's really the basis of why networking works. And all networking starts with a need, right? And that need has to be shared. So if you're the one that is asking, be comfortable doing so. Well timed. That's awesome.
I mean, really, this is not scripted, obviously not rehearsed, because what host leaves the camera to go and find, like, I have a bookshelf over there. I've got one over here. Most people do this really great, guys. So they've got like a really cool bookshelf behind them, and things are staged. And I did actually, I don't know if you can see it, I did have something kind of staged behind me here today, but you can't even read it. Dream big. What's it says dream big.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. It's got my brain call. But no, I just live on the edge here, and as things come to me, as books come to me, I pull them on my bookshelf.
Ready, fire, aim. When we did the 9 hard, fast rules of social media that we started, Charlie Wahlberg and I started doing in 2008, 2010, right? We toured the area probably 50 times with that talk.
Yeah.
Ready, fire, aim was rule number 1. I think it was the first, I think it was the very first rule.
Yeah.
Listen, you don't even know what's going to work. Put it out there. Don't worry about it. See what happens. Adjust. Put it out there again. Repeat.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in today.
And I think, what I know about you, Terry, you've always been a very genuine person, and you're transparent, but you are who you are, and the personality that you have and the kindness you show towards others, the value you bring as, as a connector of people and as a networker, everything is so genuine. So I never feel, kind of odd asking you things. I mean, I've called you as I've been growing my business. Do you remember that one time I called you and it was like I was pricing a LinkedIn training and I called you and I thought you knew who I was and I was questioning. I'm like, how much should I charge for this? Do you remember that phone? And you didn't know who I was?
I didn't have your phone number in my phone.
You didn't know who it was. And you're like, well, why should I be telling you what my pricing is? I should be doing that training. I'm like, Terry, do you know who this is? This is Brenda. Oh, I didn't know, we had a very, and I didn't feel weird calling you. I was just like, hey, I need your advice on something. And
we were 5 minutes into the talk.
And I was like, you were guarded the whole time. I'm like, this doesn't feel like Terry to me. Like, why is he being so reluctant to share, because you're a sharer, you're a giving person.
It's true.
Yeah.
True. I must have been in a skeptical day, right?
I don't think you didn't know who I was either. And it was, sometimes you get these phone calls from random people from across the world and you think it's someone, so you pick up and then it's somebody else's voice and you're a minute in, you're going, who is this person? And the phone call.
I thought you were trying to sell me car warranty. I wasn't sure.
I do very well. All right, guys. So let's see. Any final questions that came in from the group? We had a couple people responding to your question, Terry, about languages that they speak. Christopher Johnson spoke high school Spanish as well.
Bueno.
David Linbury spoke Spanish. And he said when he went to Spain, they would immediately say, oh, American, and continue talking in English. So
you didn't even have to use it. I like that. You didn't
get to use it at all.
Very helpful.
Elton joined us from Orange Park, Florida. Good morning, Elton. We've got Jonathan who's saying, get the book on networking by Terry Bean. And since I didn't plug it, since Jonathan did, I'm going to bring it back up on screen here again. Terry, where can people buy this book if they wanted to buy it?
So there's a couple of places. On my website at trybean.com, on the menu, there's a place that says book, and you can do it there. Or you can go to Amazon, which is probably every bit as easy, because you're probably already at Amazon. So
I got to make sure I gave you a review on Amazon. I'm pretty sure I did, but I'll go online. It's a great read, guys. It's an easy read. It's informative. It's useful. It's one of these where, I think I sat down, I read it in a weekend at poolside, if I'm not mistaken, and I really enjoyed it. So it was a good read. So
I like poolside. So that's
right. Perfect. Yeah. Well, I'm like looking forward. Right now we're January, what is it, the 24th? Where's my calendar? January 24th, and it's, I don't know what, 20, 30 degrees or so outside right now, and looking forward to the summer months coming ahead. All right, so Dave put a comment here on Facebook to end us off here today. If your LinkedIn has a custom URL, you need to do this step. Click on profile, drop down mark near to edit, and click on share profile. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Dave. I know what you're talking about, editing your URL. Do you know what he's going with here?
I'm trying to figure that out too. I like the idea of it, but yeah. So if he's talking about maybe under the more tab where you can share the profile, is that what we're looking at?
I think, let me see if I can do a screen share here. I think what he's talking about is if you've edited your profile, sharing that or if you've edited your profile URL, sharing that on your profile. So let's see if this is up on screen here first. Okay, so I'm up on screen. So I think if you go to your profile, I'm going to click on view profile. I think he's talking about edit profile. And then what I don't know is he's saying click on share. I mean, this is where you would edit your URL. I know you talk about the gobbledygook nonsense characters a lot here too, Terry.
Right, looks like a stormtrooper, right? Yeah, that's great.
Stormtrooper. And then he's saying if your LinkedIn is a custom URL, you need to do this step. Click on profile, drop down mark near to edit option, click on share profile. Dave, I'm sorry, we're not following you here.
I love the idea. I just don't know what it is.
I know, it's probably a really good idea too. We're trying to figure this out. And if I go to my profile, it's not this one because it's already on here.
Sorry.
You got a dog, Terry? Is that a dog?
I might have two, and they may have found
Aw.
squirrels outside. So
That's fun. Well, you probably did tell them before coming on, you're only going to be on here for a half hour. And they're like, Dad, it's been 45 minutes. Let's wrap this.
my little pit bull's on screen now. She wanted to come over and say hi. This is Lady Buggles. Isn't she cute? She's such a sweet dog.
Aww.
Yeah, she's like the most loving little creature on the planet. So
sweet.
Yeah, pit bulls got a bad rap. These dogs are awesome.
Yeah, every dog has its own personality, right?
That's true. That's true. They're like little people with 4 legs.
All right. Well, thank you, Terry, for joining me today. This was an absolute blast.
What's your shirt say before we go? People want to know that too.
Yeah. So last night I was getting ready for, getting prep for today, and asked my daughter, I'm like, what should I wear today? I've got an interview with my good friend Terry, and I want to wear something fun. And it's a Friday, so I got to be a little bit more casual on a Friday. And I have some fun statement T-shirts. So for those of you who have left corporate,
love it.
I think we got a Mickey Mouse on the shoulder there too. But
Mickey and I have the same birthday.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
November 18th.
Oh, wow.
He's a little older, but yeah.
My niece's birthday is November 18th too, so it's a
no kidding. So
big celebration.
So tell her that, and Kelvin and Hobbs also same birthday.
Oh, I did not know that. See, look at this. It's a celebrity birthday palooza that day.
It is.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Terry. I put up on screen, guys, if you're watching this in playback, if you want to get notifications for future live broadcasts, subscribe to my email list below. I'll push these out about once a month and give you notifications. And then this playback will sit on LinkedIn, Terry, but I'm also going to give you the YouTube link if you'd like to share that along. Maybe send it to Keith along with the request for payment, and Jonathan and anybody else you requested in the session.
Right on. And follow Dave Zilla, the dude that LinkedIn thing.
Dave Lineberry, great guy to follow as well. So I'll go back in the comments later on, and I'll make sure that we have URLs for those folks that jumped in and gave us some great tips today. So Terry, I will see you soon. Have a great trip on your cruise. Is that something people can register for? Is that still open to the public right now?
I think it might be. If you're an HR professional looking for continuing education, you'll want to go to hrconferencecruise.com. We set sail on February, I think it's the 17th, and we come back on the 23rd. We'll hit Cozumel as well as Grand Cayman. So it'll be a lovely, lovely time with about 10 presenters sharing really wonderful things, empowering HR professionals.
That's awesome. I'm not able to find the link quickly here, so we'll add it to the show comments later so people can visit and check that out. But again, Terry Bean, thanks for joining today. Make sure you guys follow and connect with Terry on LinkedIn. Mention that you watch this broadcast. And if you happen to be watching this in playback, still do leave a comment below. And if you have any additional questions for Terry about networking or anything else, drop them in the comments as well, and we'll make sure Terry sees those. All right, Terry, have yourself a great day. Thank you so much. High five. Let's see if we can do this. Wait, other hand.
Wait.
No, you gotta go to the screen right here.
No, I have to go this. No.
Other way. There
we go.
Again, folks, live TV.
You know what? I'm actually this awkward high-fiving in real life too. It's really
I know. We would do the same, and we'd be like hitting each other in the air, and it's all good.
Got it now.
We're as we're wrapping, Terry, just so you know, we're now up to 105 people.
Oh, just in time to end is when everybody joins. Well, thank you for all that love. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, Terry, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
You too. Thanks, guys.
All right, take care. Thank you.